the Russia-Ukraine war is about to complete 1 year. The West, which earlier looked like a Godfather to Kyiv, seems to be moving away from Ukraine. The delivery of weapons and tanks have not even commenced. All of this as Ukraine seeks fighter jets, which is highly doubtful Kyiv will get from the West. And then Ukraine comes up with a new demand. It wants sanctions on India. Why? For buying Russian oil. Ukraine's head of the Foreign Affairs Committee, Alexander Meresko, advised India to quote-unquote be consistent. He added, this is a global conflict between democracy, the free world and authoritarian regimes, and there shouldn't be any compromise because of what the Ukrainian minister called India's material economic interest.
We have a relationship with Moscow. We've had a long-term relationship with Moscow. I think it's important to look at that history of the relationship. It was a relationship built in a period when Western democracies used to arm a military dictatorship called Pakistan and deny India defensive weapons. So if we are talking about principles, let's talk a little bit of history out here.
That brings us to India's hostile neighbor, Pakistan, and the role it has in the Russia-Ukraine war. Pakistan has been supplying critical weapons from its ordnance factory to Ukraine for monetary and military gains since August 2022. The ammunition has been shipped and air transported in October, December and January. The consignment is huge and has been shipped discreetly from Karachi as well as via chartered flights from Air Force Station Noor Khan at Rawalpindi through countries such as Cyprus and Romania. Ukraine gets its weapons from a state that is called an epicenter of terrorism and where terrorists are trained in broad daylight. It is believed that close cooperation between Pakistan, UK and the US for the supply of arms and ammunition could have paved the way for removing Pakistan from the Financial Action Task Force Grey List 2. Looks like a win-win situation there. So why does Ukraine want India to stop buying Russian oil? And why does Ukraine want India, or for that matter any nation, to pay the price for the war it is fighting and arguably a war it has chosen to continue fighting?
Would you consider India an ally of Russia?
No, I think India doesn't. We are an independent country. We do not define ourselves or perceive ourselves in alliance terms. That's very much a Western terminology. It's not a term that we use.
Since the Ukraine war began, time and again, India has been asked to recognize Western sanctions placed on Russia. Indian External Affairs Minister Dr. Subramaniam Jaishankar has also been asked several times why India is reluctant to criticize Moscow.
How did the Indian exposure to Russia and previously to Soviet Union get built up? Because the Western democracies, for whatever reason, decided that their natural partner in our part of the world was a military dictatorship.
Jaishankar even went ahead and showed the mirror to the Western media for trying to guilt him over buying Russian oil. As Western media parroted the now turned cliché argument of Europe's reduced Russian energy imports.
Europe has managed to reduce its imports while doing it in a manner in which it is comfortable for Europe.
Comfortable?
It's manageable.
It's maybe a little bit of an overstatement.
Now, if at 60,000 euros or whatever is your per capita income, you are so caring about your population. I have a population at $2,000. I also need energy. I'm not in a position to pay high prices. The price of oil has doubled.
Meanwhile, Ukraine is not just fighting a battle on the battleground. It is also fighting an internal conflict of corruption and scandals. Ukraine's defense minister Oleksiy Reznikov has been sacked and replaced by the Chief of Military Intelligence. Reznikov's reshuffle would be the highest profile government change in a slew of resignations and sackings following a corruption scandal in January. The question remains, why is India asked to pay the price of the Russia-Ukraine war? When India has always advocated peace and diplomacy to end the war. A policy Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi even pitched to Russian President Vladimir Putin when he met him. And a bigger question, when will this Western hypocrisy against India end?